Hi and welcome. This is Indigo, and I hope this is one of my videos that you will find some meaning in personally for you. I'm sharing a personal reflection, but I hope that it resonates for you with something in your own life. So, for me, I have to say that I'd been kind of losing some of my inspiration, and at first I didn't even realize it. And there's a lot that's political to it, even though I'm a very spiritual person. But I think I had found kind of a home within the political sphere. And then that home was upset by my feeling like it was out of step with me. I was out of step with it and kind of feeling a little politically homeless. And that was unsettling to me as a frame, even though, yes, I am foremost a spiritual person, not a political person. I've certainly never worked in any political capacity or anything like that. But just not having that ground was really unsettling to me. And then along came the candidacy of Bobby Kennedy. And I first was skeptical. If you watch my previous video right before this one, you'll see that I was extremely skeptical. But then as I listened to him directly instead of what was said about him, I started feeling this renewed inspiration. And it was really then that it hit me how much I'd lost that. I mean, I knew that I felt politically homeless, and I knew why. It's pretty straightforward. But I didn't realize that it was causing me to not have certain aspects of myself that are natural. And it's really only today, as I sit down to make this video, that I decided to make this video for this reason, that it really hit me just how much it means to have someone who inspires you. And so like today I just came from a little bit earlier, which is why I'm a little gussied up. I just came from a little bit earlier doing just this offering, this very spontaneous offering that I came up with a week ago today at about the same time a week ago, to offer in this community that I'm in. I don't want to name it because I want to say something else about it. And I don't know how much all of that is out, into the public domain. But one of Bobby Kennedy's advisors has a community, and I was a part of that community. And it's probably what led me to paying a little more attention to Bobby Kennedy, to be honest. That probably, those little steps sometimes, and then you get to a certain point and something changes, and it's hard to say, well, where did that change actually begin? So it's a little like that, but I think that probably had a lot to do with it. And so in that community, I decided to just put out a new offering. And, I believe very much in coherence and the importance of coherence. I think that in our culture, there's a lot of wounding because people will act like, oh, the only thing, like they like to frame, people like to frame things in terms of light and dark as good and bad, wanted and unwanted. And I find that's very destructive because we leave out too many things that we need to be embracing to be healthy. And we accept too many things that aren't actually really good for us. So I like to frame things more in terms of coherence and incoherence. So there can be the coherent light vibration, but there can also be the incoherent light vibration, which is very destructive. And then there can also be the incoherent dark vibration, which is very destructive, and everyone knows that. But there's also the coherent dark expression of energy, which is life-giving, like the very soil that feeds you. So and so when we are divorced from that, when we can't see that, we there are obviously a lot of problems that grow out of that. So I was framing things that way. And so I just made this offering like, let's just be together in coherence. Let's just tune into the coherence as it's found and explore that. Just follow the energy, sort of where that leads us. And a bunch of people showed up from within the community for it. And, I actually was a little shy at one point because they were being so appreciative and saying how much of an impact it had for them. And I felt like, I'm back. I'm back. I didn't even know I was gone, but I'm back. And now I know I was gone. And I tell you, so much of it comes down to finding hope and inspiration despite these being really difficult times. They're difficult times objectively in terms of just what is happening in the world. I mean, later I'm going today to see a movie about child trafficking. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, do I really even want to know? But then there's another part that's like, no, I have an obligation to know. I do. and to see what I can do, what little I can do from where I am to, you know, be a part of a solution, not a problem, shall we say. And I think that, so there are these really objective things like that that are, this is not good. But then there are all kinds of things where people disagree about what's good or not. I mean, s- everyday people, well-meaning, healthy people will still disagree about just what is the path to good. What actually do we need? I mean, we can all agree we don't like authoritarianism, right? But do we see the authoritarianism on our side of the political spectrum, or do we only see it when it shows up on the opposite side of the political spectrum? Because I can assure you it's showing up on both. Oh, yeah. It's there on both. Do we see it on both? And I think there are a lot of really well-meaning people who don't. They don't. And as they do, as you do, you find yourself homeless, politically homeless, and it's a hard place to be. And so one can lose hope and one can lose inspiration, and then you just sort of stop putting yourself out in the world in a certain way, and you stop sharing your medicine with this world that is so dearly in need of medicine. You start being more defensive and more cynical, maybe more pulled back, less engaged. There's a protective aspect of it. But anyway, this is a real quick little live I just popped on, and I'm out to see a movie pretty soon. And I just wanted to share this with you. If you've lost your hope, your inspiration because of what we face, I hope you find it again. And I don't know if you find it the same way that I did, or if when you do, it shows up the same way it did for me. But whatever your path is, I hope you find it because the world needs your medicine. And that sense of connection to the hope and inspiration that is within you, that is a part of you, that is so essential for us all. And actually, the last thought I'll leave you with is, even in this little gathering that I put out there and people decided to show up for, I told them at the very end, who wants to, we're going to meet again in 2 weeks, who wants to facilitate that time? And no one stepped up just then, but I said, I'm going to ask this every single time, because part of the way that we support each other is in supporting each other and having a safe space in which to get our medicine out to the world. We need to have the hope and the inspiration to be able to tune into that and have access to our own medicine. But then we also need to have opportunities and containers and communities and connection to share it, because the medicine is a poison if you just keep it in. It only becomes medicine when it is shared with those in need of it. Right? So we need each other. We are interdependent in our need for that. Yeah. I could either go on and on or I can just end here. So let's just end here. Thank you for listening. And I would love it if you feel so inspired, if you could share in the comments something that has been inspiring you or renewing your sense of connection to inspiration, renewing a sense of connection to hope. What is the part of these times we live in now that you have found most challenging to your sense of hope and inspiration? And what have you managed to do about that? Okay. All right. Until we meet again. Bye-bye.